or is there other differentiators that, from Blue Cross Blue Shield that you see over the Aetna and the HAP?
So I mean, we're fighting the same battles as everybody else is. We're really struggling with the healthcare inflation. In 2017, it was about 12%. This year, it's about 8%. We've done a lot of. We're trying to manage our total spend through through getting the most competitive quotes we can out there. We're trying to maintain the plans, keep them relatively intact, and at the end of the day, the differentiator for us is it comes back to cost. If you know Blue Cross Blue Shield, they're a little archaic, and their customer service isn't necessarily the best. But for us, it ended up being a cost-based decision. The other companies they came in higher even with the opportunity of being able to win us over.
So if cost wasn't an issue, was there anything? I guess the question I'm thinking is you're saying their customer service isn't the greatest. What else would have maybe pushed you over the edge to switch? Was there, I know network disturbance sometimes for people, the disruption is just too much for people to handle to switch carriers. Was there any other differentiating factors that you liked about the other carriers, or that you liked about Blue Cross over the other carriers?
So I think the fact that they're integrated, we have. From a systems perspective, I don't know that we have the best systems in place. Integrated with our ADP, we've spent a lot of time and energy trying to integrate the Blue Cross network into our system, and I think to move away from it, we're trying to. We've in the last 2 years we've actually tried to streamline the feeds. We have a lot of complexity in our program, so. We're working to streamline the feeds, and we're actually getting them to a place where it's much better and much more efficient for us. There are concerns about switching providers and the effort it would take to transition to an Aetna feed or a HAP feed. And while my benefits folks would say there's no way we're switching because of the size of the task, it's not. I wouldn't shy away from it, but it was maybe a secondary consideration for us. So it's not the driver, but it's also not something we have to deal with in terms of the switch as well. So I think a lot, some of the, I would consider other providers, Blue Cross is not very transparent in terms of giving us data on our employees and usage and all that, and it's just a disproportionate effort to get specific claims information and to get data from them. They provide macro data, but they struggle to provide us with the granularity that I would like us to see in our plans. But I don't want to say we've kind of resolved ourselves dealing with Blue Cross, but I just don't know that we as an organization are mature enough yet to be able to take advantage of it. So while it's something that I would like to do as the head of HR, I don't know that my team is ready to be able to deal with that sort of next level of interaction and pulling data, analyzing the data, doing some analytics on the claims. That's just a huge opportunity for us that I need to put a plan together to be able to address.
Just out of curiosity, is it a privacy issue that they can't share that, more of the micro level? What is it that they struggle with sending that over? I just find that interesting because, I know that you need some of those micro levels to decide, what kind of plans to put in place for the next year if you're having, chronic condition issues throughout your population and such.
That's a really good question. I don't interact directly with Blue Cross, between the broker and my benefits team does. But the feedback is that the account manager that we deal with is not necessarily the person who pulls the data. They have to go to a different group, right? So I think it's a little bit of the Blue Cross bureaucracy, and it's it's a more difficult effort with financials, and then at the end of the day, I'll make that recommendation, and I'll get concurrence from my CEO on it. So.
Yep.
And from my CEO's perspective, all he cares about is total spent. Right? So, as opposed to service.
Right. Yeah. Bottom line sometimes is champion. Do your employees have any sway or say into the system or determining, do they have any way of, putting their feedback forward, saying, we're not happy with, on their perspective from an employee level, the customer service hasn't been treating us well, or the plan isn't what I want it to be. Does that have any influence?
It's a very interesting question. So I think the short answer to your question is no. One of the things I've been contemplating is setting up some type of employee benefit committee, right, where I can solicit that type of feedback in terms of, level of service, plan, design, vendor performance, be able to solicit that feedback. We do an annual employee survey or a biannual employee survey, which is actually underway now. So I expect I'll get some feedback on that. But generally speaking, there's no mechanism for employees to give us feedback outside of complaining about a claim being denied and, not having access to a certain drug that happens on a regular but infrequent basis.
Thank you.
So it tends to be like a one-off where it gets brought to HR's attention.
Right. Yeah. There's always the cases. Thank you. So just thinking about all of these things in totality, how do you educate yourself, and what resources do you use to, just to keep your finger on the pulse of what's going on in healthcare and what plans and, how things are changing. And as more niche companies coming into the market and disrupting, how do you know what to kind of do, I guess, and how do you keep yourself above water?
So I think there's a number of ways we do it. Primarily, it's through the broker. Our broker spends a lot of time through the course of the year sort of keeping their clients abreast of developments within healthcare. So, when, was it last year, we had the whole discussion on the Affordable Care Act and, potential implications. They're holding seminars and, just providing a general update and opinion in terms of what the changes mean for employers. They do a number of other, I'll call it education sessions, about CDHPs and, what's going on there, looking at some of the analytics, other offerings that companies can have out there to help manage their healthcare programs. For example, there's a real focus on incorporating well-being programs in the workplace, and how that would impact your healthcare costs. My benefits manager is very well versed. He belongs to a number of HR associations, benefit associations, where he gets a level of information that comes to him as well. So those are the two primary sources. And then I belong to an HR association here in Michigan, the American Society of Employers, that also provides a lot of information to their membership in terms of what's going on in healthcare as well. So.
Thank you. So I was thinking as you were speaking, one of the, now I lost my train of thought. There was something to do with, so I know that carriers sometimes put out information too. Is that something that you read, or just kind of, you kind of just use the broker as your main information source?
No, I'm sorry. No, actually, I meant to include that as well. We do get direct communication from Blue Cross Blue Shield. I don't recall seeing anything from Geisinger, but certainly Blue Cross Blue Shield is sort of providing regular updates. I think they're quarterly updates in terms of what's going on in healthcare. And you
find them helpful, or are they overwhelming, or too much information? Is it information that I guess is useful to you, or is it just all right, this is the same thing I've heard already?